I am Reid, and as she has said, I sometimes go by the stage name of Jazida, and I'm here to talk to you today about Australian Burlesque, a bit about looking at the past and what we're doing with the future of burlesque right here in Australia. So first off, I'd like to touch on what I mean by Australian Burlesque. So the art, burlesque itself, I hope you're familiar with, but if not, it is the art of tease, usually striptease. So it has its basis it originated in the strip clubs in the US back in the 30s to 50s. That was when it had its golden era. And then as legislation and things changed, the nature of striptease has changed and it sort of evolved into what is now contemporary stripping. But the form of burlesque, where people covered their nipples and they wore the particular G-strings due to the legislation back then, has since had a revival, and it is now its own very separate art form. So I like to think of burlesque as a lens or a filter that you put on top of another art form. I don't like to think of it as burlesque is this particular style of dance. If anything, I would argue that there's like cabaret dancing as a particular style, or like showgirl dancing. But the actual art of burlesque is usually putting a little bit of parody and challenging some of the things that are happening in society, and you can do that through any art form. So you could be a singer who presents your singing through the art of burlesque, and you add a little bit of tease through your singing. You could be a comedian who does burlesque. You could be a dancer who does burlesque, which is probably the most common thing that we think of. So the revival of burlesque happened with neo-burlesque coming out in the 80s. And modern day burlesque that we see now pays a tribute to all the different styles. A lot of burlesque pays tribute to classic burlesque, the era from the 50s, the 30s to the 50s, as well as homage to the neo-revival in the 80s, and also even a little bit of like a tip of the hat to modern day strip clubs. And here we have in the picture, this is the current big names in the Sydney burlesque scene. This photo was taken by Leslie Liu. So, within Australia, we're doing some really interesting things at the moment to preserve the past of burlesque. Because it is such, I guess, like an underground art form, it's something that it's very easy to lose this sparkly and exciting and extravagant past that we've got. So, the Australian Burlesque Museum has recently been established within the last 5 years, and it's doing a lot of different things. One of the things the Australian Burlesque Museum is doing is mapping the neo-revival of burlesque in Australia. So we've got different groups of volunteer researchers all across Australia who are sitting down and doing interviews with the people. Like we will send out surveys to all the people in the burlesque community and say, when was the first time that you saw burlesque? What was your first experience? Who did you see? What's going on there? And then from there, they'll say, oh, well, I saw a particular dancer by this name. We'll find that dancer and say, like, well, when did you first see burlesque and who did you see? And by that, we're sort of tracking backwards to find out where it all began and what happened. And from there, we're sitting down and actually interviewing some of the Australian legends, the people who really made burlesque, like modern day burlesque, possible. So we're taking their stories, we're doing interviews which we're then transcribing, and we're putting them all into archives within the Australian Burlesque Museum. As well as this, we're doing things like poster collections, and gathering other bits of paraphernalia, costumes, like vintage costumes and posters and flyers and anything that we've got from way back when, newspaper clippings that mention dancers' names who we're not even sure who they are because the past has sort of disappeared in front of us. All of this paraphernalia is now being stored in Melbourne, where we've got a little storage facility, and they're going on, these items get exhibited. So we have pop-up exhibitions, and we also have touring collections. So the last year when the Australian Burlesque Festival, which by the way is the largest touring burlesque festival in the world, when the Australian Burlesque Festival was going around Australia, they had a couple of suitcases worth of vintage items from the museum, as well as little transcripts of some interesting facts of key people, and they were sort of toured around Australia, and we all got to learn a little bit more about our very sparkly and exciting past. We've also, through that, we've been able to identify who some of these living legends are, and not only have we got to learn about them and write articles and read articles about them, but some of them are alive and well today. And in fact, this wonderful lady up here in the top, her name is Elizabeth Burton, and she is 71 years old. She was renowned as being Sydney's highest paid stripper in the 70s. And she went on tour, she went to Vietnam and toured with the troops and performed for them there. and had this incredible past. And if it wasn't for her, it wouldn't be possible for us to be doing a lot of the things that we're doing now. 1 minute. She actually recently came to Canberra. We brought her to Canberra. She tours around, and so while she was here, she ran a question and answer session and told us all about the exciting things of the past. And she also actually came and performed. Can you believe it? At the Abbey Function Centre just a few months ago, a 71-year-old lady doing proper vintage striptease. What an honour, something to see. Finally, the very exciting things that we're doing within Australian Burlesque is things to grow the future and to make sure that this art form continues on and isn't lost. We are doing a lot of work to keep the Australian Burlesque Museum going. So one part of that is, at the moment, we're just sort of a group of very passionate volunteers. I am the secretary. But we're not actually like a registered like a not-for-profit or a registered proprietary limited or anything. So what we're working to do is actually sort of let the museum become its own legal entity. And the other thing that we are doing is working with the NEAA to secure a code of conduct, because currently for our art form we don't have standards that we can adhere to, which creates a whole lot of problems. In fact, 30 years ago it was still inside the red light districts. And so we've come a really long way in 30 years, and we want to just keep on getting there to make things safer and better for the dancers. And of course, just supporting upcoming talent, providing people with grant funding that's funded internally, and running things like competitions and shows for opportunities. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.